Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are. Another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Episode number 179, Peter.
Wow.
Today's episode is called Genius Secrets of Being a Reluctant Real Estate Investor. Actually, I like today's episode.
Well, I saw some of that in one of your emails, but I got to see how you spin it this morning.
Spin it.
Spin it.
Oh, I don't know if I would call it spin it.
Oh, you're going to spin it.
But I can definitely would understand that you want to hear my viewpoint of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't mean spin it in a bad way.
Peter.
What?
Did you know the more you chase sellers of real estate,
Yeah.
the faster they run?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Who hasn't been in the 7th grade with girls? Come on. Have you learned that yet?
Yeah, it's true. And if these sellers are running away, it makes it real hard to do deals with them, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you get them to stop running? In this podcast, we plan to show you the very hidden secret no one else is teaching you on how to become a deal magnet.
Bill, does this work for girls?
What's up with you with the girls? Whatever happened in 7th grade just decided to show up in present time, and you're going to talk about it now?
It still seems to work at my age.
Obviously, you have some psychological issues there, buddy.
Psychological issues? We need to talk to Dr. McDuff.
Make these simple and subtle changes, and you will notice a major, I'm not mixing words here, major paradigm shift in how many deals you will attract and get accepted. Without all of the hard work and extra learning to do it. In fact, it is so simple to make deals these days, even a teenage video couch potato can do it. How was that picture?
Awesome.
And make a fortune. And believe it or not, if you apply what Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse do in real estate, you will have a line of deals waiting for you to work on and get big checks from.
Oh, there's a Disney connection, too.
I'm bringing Mickey Mouse and Disney in.
All right, awesome.
As I said, no one, Peter, no one is teaching this. So grab a pencil and paper and take notes on this very, very unique episode. How am I doing?
Cool.
Do I have a spin on it yet?
You're spinning. That's spinning. I threw some in, too, there, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah, a little color.
What exactly is a reluctant real estate investor? That should be the first question.
Yeah, reluctant.
Reluctant. First, there's only 2 types of sellers that we deal with, right? Actually, we talk about 3, but today we're only going to talk about 2.
Mm-hmm.
So those 2 types of sellers for a professional, creative real estate investor.
Mm-hmm.
We're not normal real estate investors. We're professional, creative real estate investors. Okay?
That's right.
And there's 2 types of people we deal with. Yep. Actually, 3. So I'll just give all 3.
Okay, yeah, but then otherwise it'll be mystery. What's the third one?
So there's the ones that are in.
Yes.
There's the ones that are out.
Yeah.
And then there's the ones that are maybe.
Yeah, like a test. Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're not going to talk about the maybe ones today because we have episodes to do that.
Yeah.
But we talk about this a lot, right? We talk about the prospect who's in and wants to hear what we have to offer.
Yeah, he might be a prospect. Maybe it's a work.
They're willing to hear how we can help them solve their problem and how much we want for payment to do that, which is usually paid in equity.
Right.
Right? In fact, we go through lots and lots of suspects to find that one prospect.
Yep.
because probably 95% of the people we talk to are suspects.
Right. That's because they just want it their way.
Right.
It's not that they're not selling. They just my way or no way.
Right. So a seller, like you're saying, a seller who's out is just, simply put, a suspect.
Yeah.
Right? A waste of time. Someone who is just interested in what they want. I have to turn this heater.
Oh, okay.
So you talk.
Right. Well, one of the things you said about them is when they're suspects, they're not flexible.
Right.
Oh.
That's correct.
Yeah, they're not flexible. They just want what they want, and if you have an idea that would benefit you and them, they still don't care.
Right. So basically, this seller is not concerned with the market value, the property's condition, and worse, how the buyer is going to get the money or comply with the suspect's demands. Right? So this, to me, is not too far off from a criminal in a bank, big guns, and a lot of hostages screaming out the door to the SWAT team what his ransom demands are. That's what that's like. That's what I see when I see a suspect.
Bill, I saw all of that. It was in cartoon form, but short guy, guns, and big hat.
Was Roadrunner in there?
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Emma's like, what's
Beep, beep.
Roadrunner? She's giving me a dirty look.
Look it up, Emma.
The millennials. Hey, we'll talk to Kyle right now, our millennial in the coaching group. Kyle, Roadrunner's a cartoon that we used to watch when we were kids. Oh, remember that TV? Oh, yeah. We didn't watch it on a phone. We watched it on a black and white TV.
Yeah. A big one. It was heavy, too.
Look at Emma. She's like...
No, a small one.
Oh, Emma,
Yeah.
she said, and there's a coyote.
That's
she saw
right.
it.
Bill, you know, all of this is on YouTube, reruns, and if they bump into it, they see it. Very loony.
She said it's Looney Tunes. Don't talk to me like that, Emma.
Loony.
All right. Actually, what you're looking for is you're looking for someone who has a house. Now, pay attention to this, because this is really, as far as I'm concerned, really, really explains it. So you're looking for someone that has a house that was an asset.
Right.
And asset means it had a gain.
Yeah, it was good for them in some way.
So it doesn't. That's right. It doesn't mean necessarily financially. It just had a gain.
It was good. And people think, oh, house, it's always good, right?
Right.
You want a house. Houses are good, huh? Watch
Right.
this. Keep talking, mister.
Now, what happened is it turned from an asset or being a gain to a liability, which is a loss.
And a problem.
Yeah. So the loss is either emotional, financial, time. I don't know what the loss is, but it's gone from an asset, which had a gain, to a liability that has a loss.
Sure.
When you find that buyer, when you find that seller, right?
Yeah.
It's magical.
Yeah.
Because their attitude toward you and your abilities changes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a quick story here. All right? This is completely just popped in my head. It's not written down, so you don't have to look on the paper. Ready?
Sure.
Mr. Dan Kennedy. Fame and fortune himself. He's like the marketing king of today's society. Yeah. Now, there's other marketers that are as good as him, but he's one that's living. Barely right now, but he's living. Yeah. Right? He tells a story of a time, and I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's very apropos right now. He tells a story of when he was in his kitchen, sitting at the counter, at the island. Yeah. There's an island in his kitchen, and he's sitting at the counter working. Cup of coffee, computer on the table, sitting on the stool. You got the picture?
Underwear.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Sorry, just did.
That's a scary thought, seeing Dan Kennedy in underwear. And he's working. And somebody knocks at the front door. And he ignores it.
Yeah, it's annoying him. He's working. Leave me alone.
Dan Kennedy is a time management maniac. He wrote a book called Time Management. You should read it. Dan Kennedy, Time Management, you should read it. It's an amazing book, right?
Yeah.
The knock gets louder. And it gets louder. And he ignores it. And he ignores it. And he ignores it. So what happens is the person that's knocking at the front door now is knocking at the back door, which is a sliding door, sliding door, with glass.
Yeah.
That goes out to like a pool area.
Yeah.
Right? So he's now knocking on that. So Dan is thinking, this guy, for him to go from the front door, would have to go around the side of the house, go through a bunch of bushes, jump a fence, go through the garbage pails.
Yeah.
Okay, where he lines up his garbage pails, and down a sidewalk and come around the back of the house.
Man, he really wants to sell that vacuum cleaner.
Right? That's what Dan's thinking.
He really got to unload that encyclopedias.
So at this particular point, Dan obviously has to get up from what he's doing, turn around, and look at the screen door to see that the guy's there.
Mm-hmm.
He opens the screen door. He goes, "Hey, mister." He says, "You know there's a fire in your backyard?" Okay?
Yeah.
The point of Dan Kennedy's story is he went from being a pest to a welcome guest.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's very apropos for what we're talking about right now, because when you help your client correctly, and we're going to talk about this today, when you help your client correctly, you go from being pest to welcome guest.
Yeah, because when you first show up or you talk to them on the phone, they're suspicious.
Oh, yeah.
Even when they're a prospect. What do you want out of it? And, I'm not going to get anything out of this. They think you're the suspect,
right,
on the other end.
Totally.
Yeah.
You have to prove yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when I was on the road and we were selling consulting for automotive repair shops? I was for 40 weeks a year I traveled for 6 years. And we were in a different hotel or different city every week.
Yeah.
And I would sit with between 12 and 15 clients. Right?
Every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it was always that way. It always started out because I was a troubleshooting consultant. I had owned my own repair shop for 27 years and had been through their consulting program and had a lot of data.
Yeah.
So it would always switch, like in the middle of that sooner or later they would feel like you become the welcome guest. But my point of bringing that up is I hated going to Missouri. Missouri, as they call it.
Missouri. Why?
Because they're the show me state.
That's right. They show me.
Well, I have
they
to
really are like that.
I have to tell you that somebody, somehow, some way, took the borderlines off of Missouri, and they are the entire United States now because everybody is skeptical and wants you to show them now.
Yeah.
You have to show people before you do anything now.
Oh, there's so much media. There's just so much.
So much false data.
I was trying to buy something this morning. I gave up. I just couldn't. It's just too much.
Fake data. So being a reluctant buyer means that you're looking for a motivated seller that has problems that you can solve and feels relieved they found you to help them. I'll do that again. So you're looking for a motivated seller that has problems you can solve and feels relieved that you found them or they found you.
You know what I think is funny about that?
Huh.
Nobody likes problems.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to buy a house, you have to face the fact that there has to be some problem that you can solve, or what good are you?
That's right.
And you have to be willing to do that and know how. Well, if you don't know how, you know that you could probably figure it out.
I take it one step further than that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like as a human being, just as a human being, I walk around in my own world most of the time. I mean, I go to Walmart and it's like, whew, sorry. There are some interesting people in Walmart. Okay? In any store. I mean, interesting people are everywhere. But I think to myself, what value do these people bring? As a human being, you have to ask yourself, what value do you bring to yourself, to your family, to your group, to mankind, spiritually? I mean, what value do you bring? Are you just here sucking up resources on planet Earth and just kind of like making it go by?
Yeah.
Or are you here to do something?
Are you Scrooge?
Yeah. I mean, are you here to do something? And what value do you bring? Do you hold a door for someone? Do you walk grandma across the parking lot? Do you help other people? Or are you so wrapped up in yourself that people need to help you?
Yeah.
Right?
Grinch.
Well, I don't know if it's a Grinch, but some people are just introverted. They don't know there's a world out there.
Yeah. Well, I
They're
assume
just
some
so
people they're having,
inside themselves that they don't know that there's a world out there.
well, they're having so much trouble themselves they can't solve their own things
Right.
probably. But I think you made a great point. If you can't solve your own problems, go help somebody.
Right. Exactly.
Get out
If
of
you
your
have
head.
money problems,
Yeah.
if you have money problems, go find somebody with money problems and start helping them.
I just talked to somebody who hasn't been working for a while, had some real bad times, and wound up in the hospital, and afterwards decided to go back to nursing. And I can just imagine sitting there for days with nurses helping that person and thinking, gee, I used to do that. Maybe I should do that again. And she kind of came back to life a little bit. It's kind of nice to see.
Well,
Took a little tragedy, but aren't you better off doing that than just sucking it up?
if you don't have a purpose in life, and you don't have a passion or a goal or a beacon to head for, whatever the mountain that you're after, whatever you want to call it, then quite frankly, life lives you instead of you living life. I mean, you do as a human being have the choice to pick what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, your mind is going to keep working. Your mind is designed to solve problems. So either you give it problems or it will find problems. It's not going to stop working. Your mind just doesn't stop working.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have any problems to solve, or if you're bored or not doing something, then your mind is going to find other problems. It's going to attract other problems. So that and lately, the way our society is,
people look for it.
it's health. Health is a big thing. People that have trouble with health just don't have big enough problems, and I'm 1,000% convinced of that. Okay. Anyways, so here's the magic we're talking about today. Once the seller hears how you can help them solve their problem, they start selling you on the deal. Once they realize that you have a unique proposition, okay, a unique offer, they start selling you. Or they're starting to call you instead of you calling them. And I could tell you one of the first things that I notice, because I've been in sales a long time, one of the first things that I notice about prospects and suspects is who's doing the most amount of work.
Right.
Is it you or is it the seller?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that indication comes from how quick do they respond when you leave a message.
Sure.
If you text them, do they respond right away, or does it take them 2 days?
Right.
Right? And the longer the lag between communications, the less motivated they are.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that I've learned a lot about, this has taken me many, many, many years, and it sounds simple, but I'm telling you, I have painstakingly heart-wrenching, throbbing stories on how I figured this out. You can't listen to what people say. You have to watch what they do. And a communication lag is that thing.
Yeah.
So if you call somebody and say, hey, it's Bill from Homes R Us, I'm calling because I got your title search back and I'm ready to push forward, let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes them 2 days to call me back, there's something wrong. And they'll tell me, oh, I've been busy and I've been at work and I had this PowerPoint, I had this meeting, I had my mother, I had blah, 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 blah.
So that's all more important.
So the point is that if you fall into that agreement, okay, then there you go.
Yep.
To me, it's the definition of like reasonableness. That has a very specific definition as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. What that means is that somebody had some data, right? And they're trying to calculate that data, and it doesn't add up. So they make up their own.
Is it like making excuses for things?
Could be, but they make up their own. They make up their own data. So it's like they're trying to reason with it, but they can't because the data doesn't line up.
Yeah.
So they dub something else in or make something up. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm talking about is that you wait 2 days for them to call back, and then they say, oh, I mean, obviously, if they say my mother died,
yeah,
I mean that's a legitimate thing, right? but not really, because they could have texted you and said, my mother died, we'll talk in 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, the point is that you have to decide what's real and what's not real, right?
Yep.
All right. So the paradigm shift here is that you are not trying to convince the seller to do the deal. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I have coaching clients and I'm working with privately, not in the group, that are doing this. They're scaring sellers away. And one of the things they do that I have to revert, I have to get them, I have to put, I say a bulldog, I got to put them on a leash.
Yeah.
They're studying sales, and they're studying convincing, persuasive language, thinking that that's how they're going to get houses bought.
Wow. Like convincing the person.
They're trying to convince the person. They're trying to force a consideration to change.
Wow. Well, you know, when I first started, I was used to like being able to convince people of at least seeing that something could happen. But it didn't take too long to realize it just doesn't work. Because what you always say is find a motivated seller. What does find mean? Right. Convince? It's locate. Just you find them,
right?
Because they're there, but
they're there already, and you locate them.
But you have to find what their motivation is. You have to ask them, not convince them, right?
Right. Well, some of them will hide it.
Yeah, and you have to dig around for it.
Yeah, and that doesn't take long to get it if you say the right thing.
No, and people aren't used to that. People are used to having somebody come over and say, "Here's the amount of money." But you're talking about how to structure something that might help them what they're trying to do. It's not just a number.
So let's go back to what I was saying before. Bottom line is this. This is probably the most magical thing that will sound like it's understated that I could ever tell anybody. At the end of the day, you, me, Emma, anybody listening to me are attracted to people they have affinity for.
Mm-hmm.
Affinity is what gets things started.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the reason why people are listening to this podcast is because they have some affinity for us. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're polite and if you're nice and if you say something of value to that person, it's instant affinity.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we buy houses.
Okay.
For someone that wants to sell a house, that's instant affinity. Oh, I should hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
I have a house for sale. I wonder what they can do for me.
They should like you because you're doing what they're hoping for.
So if you are polite and helpful and your conversation brings value to them, then it's instant.
Mm.
Okay, so value. So you don't have to convince somebody. You know, one of the things that I hire coaches. I'm always hiring a coach, or I'm always reading a book. You know me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had a coach teach me on Facebook the best way to find a client, the best way to get a good client for me is when they find you by accident or they think they found you by accident.
Yeah, because
you set the marketing up so it looks like they found you by accident.
Huh.
And so now
That's
what
funny.
happens is it takes the convincing part away. Because they think they found me by accident.
They think they decided themselves that this fit whatever they're looking for.
Right. And it's
Not
because
shoved it.
They clicked on some link and all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is interesting.
Oh, this is what I've been looking for.
Right away, they you don't have to convince them that they need to buy something. So is this clear?
Yeah.
I mean, I diverted a little bit, but you simply just gave them an offer that is just it just like it rubbed their magic button. You know, you gave them an offer that now you don't have to convince them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, that's one of the things I have to handle with my coaching clients.
Yeah.
Is stop convincing people.
Well, don't people usually run into bad salesmen in the world? How many good ones are there?
Right.
And bad salesmen just shove. They don't have training or they don't know any better. They just, buy this, buy this, buy this. It's a good sandwich. It's really good. It tastes good. I like it. Why don't you buy it? I like it. Why don't you like it?
I have an interesting perspective on that.
Mm-hmm. I imagine you would.
There is no such thing as a bad salesman.
Oh, really?
There's either a good one or nothing.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like control. There's no such thing as bad control. It's either you have control or you don't.
Yeah.
There's not
bad control
bad
is no control. Yeah, it's not control.
So it's like a salesman. It's either you're a good one or you're not.
Yeah, because you didn't sell.
Right.
Bad is zero,
Right.
none. Okay, that's fine.
All right.
But it's an annoying conversation while it isn't happening, huh?
That's right. So here we go.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes.
I have a message for all of our listeners and then I'm going to give you some examples of how not to be a reluctant salesperson.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Ready? Stop being needy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just blew Emma's whole control panel up.
Here-
Everything went red. Stop being needy.
Yeah.
Don't get wrapped up in the outcome. So many of my coaching clients get wrapped up in the outcome. Don't get wrapped up in that.
Because you're not there, right?
Nope. Just don't get wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
And that's what happens is you're trying to convince somebody of the outcome that you want.
Mm-hmm. And how would you know that yet?
Let the outcome unfold.
Yeah.
Let the outcome happen as you communicate. Let the outcome just work its magic. Okay? But there's a trick to this. All right? You have to have enough deal lead or a funnel of deals coming to you so that you're willing to waste any troublesome, any problems, anything that you're not willing to do. You take out your shotgun and you kill it.
Mm-hmm.
No different than if a rodent was at your feet trying to eat you. Shoot it. If there was an alligator at your ankles, kill it or get away.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want it there. You don't want to be eaten. Suspects eat you like alligators.
Yeah.
So you have to find out right away, are they in or are they out? And when I mean by in, I mean, are they willing to hear what you have to say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So don't get wrapped up in the outcome or feel like you need to be good at making offers. Or be a super aggressive or even a high pressure salesperson. Don't do that.
No, nobody likes that anyway.
So what you do is you ask questions and you let the deal come to you. And the bottom line is that once your seller knows what your capabilities are, and once they know what they have sitting in front of them, let them convince you should take the deal. And when you switch that, that's what happened to me in my business.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in it for several years, 3, 4, 5 years. And I just decided that I was going to stop. I was listening to Dan Kennedy. And he's like, you're not, he said to me, it was his own voice. He said, Bill, this is in a newsletter. He wrote me a special letter. Yeah.
Really?
It was in a newsletter. He said, Bill, you're not in the real estate business. You're in the marketing business. Now, obviously, it was a newsletter to everybody, but that's the way I read it.
Yeah, he was talking to you. Hey, you.
Bill,
You had your name on the envelope, right?
Yeah,
on
you're
the cover.
in the marketing business, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. And then all of a sudden, I went from, neediness, like I need to get this deal because I've spent, $3,000 for marketing or $500 for marketing, or I put out signs, or I called 30 sellers.
Yeah.
Right? I was telling Emma this morning I took on a brand new coaching client, right? And he was all skeptical about signing up with me. And you know what I told him? I do this with coaching too, by the way. I said to him, dude, I know you've spent tens of thousands of dollars. I know that you have a VA, a virtual assistant. I know that you do this, and I know you do that, and I know you do this. But you know what? You haven't bought a house. I said to him, you've talked to 30 people over the last couple of weeks and made no offers. I don't know exactly what your problem is, but I'll find it immediately. And I guarantee you your life will change. And I can do that. And for the amount of money I'm going to charge you, you should be begging me to be a client. He said, really? I said, no, definitely. So make up your mind now and give me your payment or I'm done with you. He gave me his money. It's 5 days later. He went from, I don't have any leads, I'm spending all this money, to a text this morning. I'll show it to you on my phone.
Yeah.
I have so many leads, I'm overwhelmed. I need to talk to you right away.
Holy, in 5 days?
I have so many offers.
Yeah.
Not leads, offers. He had leads. I made
had crappy
2 changes.
leads.
I made 2 changes.
No kidding.
And he went from, I have so many offers, I can't keep track. I'm overwhelmed.
Wow.
Like literally, like the third day, I had him do a few changes, and the third day he's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I've got 3 offers I got to do by tonight." And then the next day is like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I have 3 more offers."
That's crazy.
And he's like getting ready to go to contract with some of them. Now, mind you, he had leads already in the pipeline. That's why it happened so fast.
Yeah, but he wasn't converting them into products. Like something was missing, and
Right.
somebody wasn't bothering to really find. You know, it's funny. You're talking about working with a seller, finding out what they really need, and seeing if you can provide that, at which point they will do business with you. And you're just saying that you have a student who's trying to buy houses, who's spending all this money, not doing something right, and you had to have found what he needed and what he was missing.
So he is part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast today.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows who he is if he's listening. I don't even know if he's listening.
You know who you are.
One of the first things I had to straighten out with him is what is a prospect and what is a suspect. Because one of the things that I notice with my coaching clients, my private coaching clients, is their life drastically changes when they meet a motivated seller for the first time.
The first one, huh? Yeah.
And you know that because you did that. You went quite some time. And I said to you, when you meet a motivated seller, they don't say no to anything.
Yeah. It's
and
crazy.
You see one.
Yeah.
And feel one. And hear one.
You can't believe
and talk
it.
to one. Yeah. You think it's
Like, wait a minute,
surreal.
What's wrong? And I'm not going to make any payments for 2 months. Okay.
Right.
And I'll give you this much. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pay interest. Okay.
Yeah.
You think something's wrong here, Bill?
Right.
What's wrong with this? That's a real one.
Yeah.
That's an actual, not a fish, but a real. I want to make it sound like a fish.
Once you see that and hear that, your life changes.
Yeah.
Because now you can get that.
Yeah.
Right? Now you can totally have that.
But that's a person with a house that has become that liability, not the asset. He doesn't like something. It's annoying to him, and he'd rather not deal with it.
Right.
It's not a guy who has a house. This is my house. Look how pretty it is. I'm going to make lots of money. How much are you asking for the house, sir? I need $400,000. Where'd you get that number? That's what I want.
Right.
That's the pig on the other end.
Right.
And it's 2 different pigs. I mean, not 2 different people. It's totally different.
Right.
But you have to find that person.
All right, so now I'm going to give you some examples of how you can be a reluctant creative real estate investor.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so first, let's start off with questions like this. So I listed some questions. So I want you to be aware that some of these are my questions. Some of these are Joe McCall's questions. Joe McCall has some really good questions.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that does lease options. So I'm not stealing them. Some of them are his. We use them, and I used them way before I met Joe McCall. So.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want you to, I don't want anybody to think I'm stealing his stuff. So
No, there's some things in common floating around.
Yeah.
You know, we all use the same alphabet and words. It's fine.
So you would start off with when you talk to someone, right? Now, you could do this either when you're calling people or when people are calling you.
Okay.
But preferably when you're calling out. So basically my philosophy is this. Go on to Zillow. Find a for sale by owner or somebody renting a property and call them. And like literally this afternoon, you can have a lead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, no shit. Like,
I mean,
there is no magic.
That marketing was done for you.
Yeah. I mean, that is a person that wants to sell their house.
Mm-hmm.
So now what we got to do is we got to find out if they're motivated. That's all we got to do.
Yeah.
They already did the rest of the work for us, right? So you start off with, is now a good time to talk?
Mm-hmm.
right? Then you would say, if you're in the middle of something and busy, I can call you back.
Mm-hmm.
That's your first litmus test of,
Oh,
are they motivated?
You say both of those things.
Yeah, so first you say, well, let's.
Yeah, go ahead, do it.
So,
yeah, hello?
hi, my name is Bill Hawthorne. I'm calling about the house you have for sale on Zillow.
Yes, yeah.
Do you have time to talk?
Sure.
If you're in the middle of something, it's no problem. I can call back later.
Oh, no, that's okay.
See, that right there tells me
No, that's okay.
because that's what you normally get, right?
Yeah.
All right. Then you say, good. Are you the owner of the house?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good.
Or I say, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you would say, I'm a professional home buyer. And do you mind if I ask you a few questions about the house?
Oh, no, sure. No, go ahead.
Right. So you're still testing them. See, you're being a reluctant investor. You're not trying to convince them, oh, I'm calling you up to buy your house.
So when you're saying reluctant, it's being like
takeaway sales.
Yeah, it's reluctant. Like I don't need it. Just
right.
like eh.
That's
Because
right.
even that last question, can I ask you a few questions about your house? You're gonna think, well, what else are they gonna say? Of course, no.
Right.
You know what they say? It's on Zillow. Look it up.
Exactly.
Right? They
Right.
do.
They do.
They do. Like, well, can't you just look it up yourself?
Right. Didn't you see it? You said you saw it on Zillow.
Yeah. Why don't you
Right.
go look at the numbers? Don't bother me. Like, no, that's not good.
Okay, so this is where you have to go to our website. It's flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a prospect suspect form there. This is the form that has all the information that you need to know about a house. Okay? Including the mortgage information.
Mm-hmm.
Bedrooms, bathrooms, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So you would want to have that in front of you. So when you say to them, I'm a professional home buyer, do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
No, sure.
So
go
you
ahead.
use that form and you're going to fill it out. Like, whose name is on the deed?
Yeah.
How much are you asking? You know, those kind of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? How many square feet? You know, does it have air conditioning? Does it have a garage? And I don't even care about those questions. I could care less about those questions
Mm-hmm.
because I'm going to go look at the house and it doesn't really matter anyways. But it builds rapport.
Yeah.
Okay? Then, once you get the prospect suspect form, you ask those questions. Once you're done with the form, you say this. You know, this sounds like a nice house. I don't get it. Why hasn't it sold yet?
I haven't heard some of these lines, Mr. Hawthorne.
Right?
No, I'm serious. I have not heard that thrown in these kind of script. That's good.
So
It's good.
We're in December right now
Yeah.
for the recorded. In
See
January.
see my sweater.
Yeah. It's funny how that was. I was busting your chops the other day about your ugly sweater, and you came in today, and Emma told you how pretty your sweater was.
Yeah, of course.
Perspective.
Of course.
Huh? It's a girly sweater then.
No, this is a nice sweater. You just don't know crap about sweaters, apparently.
Absolutely correct. So,
Just trying to stay warm here, folks.
here's the point. In January, I'm going to do, and by the time you listen to this recording, it's probably going to be too late. We're going to do a Christmas party on December 18th.
Yep.
Right? And I'm going to release a new program I'm going to do in January. And the new program is going to show you, I'm going to do 12 webinars. I'm going to do 3 a week. So the Monday afternoon webinar is going to be theory. The Wednesday webinar is going to be, and I don't mean webinar, it's a screen share. So I've limited it to 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to fill out an application, and they're going to have to apply because I don't want knuckleheads in there.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is a real do-it thing.
So Monday we do theory. Wednesday I show you how to do it and then watch you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Friday we have study hall. You ask all your questions and you whatever. We pick it up. And that, you know, we do that on 1 week, and then we're going to do that for 4 weeks. Okay.
Cool.
And this stuff is going to be in that new program because we have to change things, Peter, because the way we've been doing things is old fashioned and I'm not getting enough numbers.
Mm.
So I have to change things.
Yeah, what we're doing works, but we want more volume.
That too. Actually, we're going to talk about it a little bit more. So let's move on. So
Yeah.
once you get the prospect suspect form done, you say, this sounds like a nice house. I don't get it. Why hasn't it sold yet?
Yeah.
Right? Or you can say, sounds like it's a very nice house. Why would you want to sell it? Use either one of those.
Ooh.
Really good. Those two are Joe McCall questions.
I like those.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to try to take credit for that.
Yeah.
You know? All right. The next question. Now watch this. This is genius. Okay. It sounds like it should sell quickly and could be a nice deal for someone. I'm not really sure I can help you. And you really don't need me. Why don't you just list it with a realtor?
Wow. That's very reluctant.
Right? So and I'm not saying it naturally because people are going to write these questions down. So they should anyways because these are magical.
Yeah.
It sounds like it should sell quickly and could be a nice deal for someone. I'm not really sure I can help you. And you really don't need me. Why don't you just list it with a realtor? I'm going to tell you right now what that's going to bring. You better get your cup of coffee, put your feet up on the desk, because you're going to get it.
Realtor.
Both barrels.
Realtor? I wouldn't list this house as a real. But you know what's funny about that? I've had, me and other people have run into this. Goes, well, why do I need you? I can just go list it with a realtor. Can't say that to you now.
Right.
After you did that.
Okay. Now, that's right. If it's listed with a realtor, you say, so how, because some of them will say, well, it is listed with a realtor.
Yeah.
You say, okay, well, how long has the realtor had it listed?
5 months, 9 months.
Now watch this. I'm sure you've been getting showings and offers, right?
Well.
Now watch this. What are you going to do if you can't sell it? You're going to rent it? Bam!
Right there. Yeah. Wow. That's so weird.
As Joe McCall says, that's a total value bomb.
Oh, yeah.
Right? What are you going to do if you can't sell it? Are you going to rent it?
Jeez. But this is like the total opposite, what you're talking about before, of people trying to convince somebody on the phone that they really should sell it to you.
So
It's so opposite.
So I want to make something very clear here. This is what I'm going to talk about in January, this is 100% if you expect to do a lease option or a slot deal. This is just for that. If you're going to do cash deals, fix, flip, and fix and retail, or you're going to do subject to deals, or where you take over the mortgages, assume the mortgages, you're going to do owner financing. This stuff works, but not as good. So all the stuff we've been talking about before still works. It's just this is just something, and everybody's heard it. I mean, Joe McCall's like everywhere. He's awesome.
Yeah.
So go read his book. Go do whatever. I'm promoting him right now. Why would I do that? Because he's a good guy. I mean, I've not met him, but I've seen his stuff. He's got some good materials.
Yep.
Right? I'm not the only one out there that has materials. I read everybody else's materials just like you guys do.
Just like he did.
Yeah, just like he did.
I mean, it's like the blues music, you all share.
Emma's watching one of his videos the other day, and guess what? Guess whose yellow letter he's got on his course?
What?
Mine.
Well, get out of here.
Swear to God. It's got my name, my address, and my website.
Are you serious? You're not
dead serious.
Oh, you got to show me that. That's hysterical.
So, I mean, we all have the same. I mean, it's like, this is not brand new information. It's just our experience using the information that changes.
Wow.
Okay? All right. So, now the seller knows you're looking for an investment property because you told them you're a professional property home buyer, right?
That's right.
They also realize that you want to do a rent by own by now or a lease option. Right? Which is another powerful question. Would you be willing? This is another powerful question that I ask. Right?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to rent for a year or two and then sell the house to me? It's a powerful question. would you be willing to rent for a year or two? We talk about that in the slot deals. Would you be willing to rent it for a year or two and then sell it to me or sell it to the buyer?
Mm-hmm.
If they say
Then
yes,
sell it.
If you say yes, I mean, you could ask that question like right up front.
Yeah.
Right? See, the seller's working through all of the questions and soon realizes that you could be a perfect solution for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? All while you are not trying to convince them you need to be the buyer. But instead, you're prospecting for deals.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So you're just asking questions and just seeing if it works. And if it doesn't, oh well, just move on.
Yeah. You just spend 5 minutes. Don't waste any more.
Just maybe, you will be willing to work with them. That's the attitude you have.
Mm.
And use all the skills you've spent so much money on and so much time to learn. You're listening to this podcast now, and it's going to be 90 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. How many of my other podcasts have you listened to? How many other podcasts of Joe McCall's or, I don't know, Bigger Pockets or one of those guys have you listened to?
Yeah.
How much money and time have you spent to educate yourself? They are god darn lucky that you're sitting in front of them because you have some concept or educated or spent money. How about all the people that have bought my courses or Joe's courses or Bigger Pockets, the stuff they sell there, or Than Merrill or Ron LeGrand or Dean Graziano or Graziosi, whatever his name is, or Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Kiyosaki.
How much money have those people made? Mm-hmm. All these guys are teaching how to, and by now, most of our listeners probably have bought some of their stuff. And if they haven't, they're kind of missing out because honestly, just like I'm talking about Joe McCall's questions, he figured something out. And if you're not aware of that, then, I mean, I figured stuff out. He figured stuff out. Ron LeGrand figured stuff out. And you know why? Because we're like doing it.
Well, it's a little bit like having a mastermind group. Imagine having 10 really good guys in a room. Nobody has it entirely covered because you got the whole world to cover.
Right.
But if they all have like a few awesome pieces, you string that together, you're in good shape. And that's what you really do. And I chase along as fast as I can, finding things. But, it's refining it down to like just the absolute best.
You got to read.
Yeah.
You got to read.
Yeah.
Watching videos and all that stuff. I'm telling you, as far as I'm concerned, I'm off track here again, and then we're going to go to the second thing I want to do. But the days of selling courses online and leaving people to their own devices to educate themselves is over. Which is why I'm calling my new program a web internship. I don't trust my clients anymore. Emma and I were doing statistics on our website, and you would be surprised how many people buy our stuff and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars and don't view it. We can see with our software.
No, that's all too common, unfortunately. It reminds me of sending kids home with homework where they got to figure it out by themselves for a few hours with no help.
So I'm going to do what I'm talking about. I'm going to find prospects that want to learn how to do real estate and actually get income, actually like get real checks, find real leads and get real checks. And I'm going to help those. I don't need a lot, 15 of them. I mean, we've got over 75 people confirmed to come to the Christmas party.
Oh, boy.
Where I'm going to launch this thing. Over 75 people, and I still got a week to go. You know how I am on my emails, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, not all of them will come. Some of them won't. But we're going to have a room full of people. You think that I'm not... When I release this thing at a special price, which is not a lot of money, you think I'm going to have trouble getting 15 people on December 18th and fill in the slot? And whoever doesn't get signed in, they'll have to go on a waiting list. And I don't know when I'm going to do it again. I might do it in February. I may not do it till June. Because think of it this way. I have to do 12 webinars. I have to do 3 webinars or 3 on-screen shares with 15 people for an hour, hour and a half, 3 days a week. You know what that does to my schedule?
Yeah.
That takes me away from... We're doing a 12-unit deal right now. You and I are doing it. That's $1 million plus.
Mm-hmm.
I could make more money working on that letter of intent than teaching people how to do this for a few $100.
Uh-huh.
but it's what I do, and it's like I'm going to control it. I'm going to do it on my terms,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to get raving results. Okay. Second thing to do, because we're going back to the list.
Mm-hmm.
Use the Walt Disney Mickey Mouse tactic.
Yeah, now I've been waiting for this one.
Okay, so before I start, I want you to realize, and maybe Emma, I should have had Emma do this earlier. Em, you listening? The book is called Systematic Magic. She can put this in the Facebook chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's Systematic Magic by Vance Morris. It's a great book, which I want to thank publicly very much for Ben Settle, who sent me that as a gift.
Oh, no
so
kidding.
I want to thank him very much. I didn't buy it; I got it from Ben Settle as a gift. So I want to thank Ben a lot for that. Okay,
Systematic Magic.
yeah. If you deliver more than what people expect, you no longer have clients, you have fans.
Mm.
And think about it. I didn't know this, but Disney World does $22 billion a year. They have 75,000 employees, 65,000 in Florida.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the interesting thing, is what Walt Disney has done, or his corporation has done, is they're training on how to handle people, because there's like, they call them, I don't know if I can remember this. Cast, what are they? Cast members. Yeah, even Emma knows that. They call them cast members instead of employees.
Yeah.
Because they feel like when they're out in front of the public, they're on stage.
Yeah.
And not that they're acting, but they have a certain way. Like, for example, one of the things that I realized when I was reading this book, one of the things I realized is that all 75,000 employees are trained that if there's somebody taking a picture, they go over and off to take the picture for them, so the whole family is in the picture. You could be a housekeeper, you could be a busboy, you could be a bus driver. It doesn't matter. If you work for Walt Disney or Disney World or Disneyland, whatever one, you are trained that you are to take pictures with the entire family. Right? You were going to say something?
The staff-only areas are called backstage.
Yeah, so the staff-only areas, Emma says, are called backstage.
Yeah. Yeah, my kid and my new daughter-in-law-to-be love it. They go twice a year nowadays.
So,
Man.
So basically, you deliver more than people expect.
Yeah.
To me, that's delivering in abundance.
Absolutely.
Okay? It's a great exchange to have.
My father used to try to teach me that. I was a stubborn kid, but I eventually found that he was right about that.
Now watch this. What your father knew and what Walt Disney knew that you didn't know. Maybe you did, but you definitely know it now.
Not at first.
In a world where most people through life do just enough.
Yeah.
To get by is below the standard of the Disney way.
Mm-hmm.
To do just enough.
Yeah.
Okay? See, Walt Disney was obsessed with details.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And is known for his attention to every detail and it wasn't details like in general. It was details on his user's experience. Like I read in this book I was telling you about, he tells a story about how he had a new ride. It was a boat ride. It was supposed to be 7 minutes long. So Walt Disney just like shows up one day and like, I'm going to go on the ride. And he went on the ride. It was 4 minutes. He came back and he found the person that was in charge of the ride, because there's a person in charge of every ride.
Sure.
And he said to him, that's not what we designed this for. I spent a lot of money for those rhinoceros or elephants or whatever they were, and I want people to see them. I don't want them to get mixed up between the elephants and rhinoceroses. And the boat's going too fast. You need to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
No questions asked.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, he comes back. And he like drilled and grilled these boat drivers so that they could do it in their sleep, right? And he made it so 7 minutes. He did what Walt Disney wanted him to do. He said, so when Walt Disney came back, he expected him to go for another ride. So he had lined up his best performers, best boat drivers, captains, and he was going to put Walt Disney with those people.
Mm-hmm.
He says, but no, not Walt Disney. He said he had, I think he said 8 or 9, I don't remember, captains.
Yeah.
He rode with every one of them just to make sure that they were all the same.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a story in the book that Vance Morris talks about because he worked for Walt Disney, right, for many years. And it's a great book. But the point that I'm making is that some of our listeners have never sold a house. Some of our listeners have never bought a house. Some of our listeners have never been through that experience, which is why I hammer the crap out of you should do a few slot deals or do a few lease options, a rent-to-own deal, because they're easy, and get the experience of going through it so that you can put yourself in your seller's shoes. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I know with you, one of the reasons why we just did this renovation, we just did a $60,000 renovation, was because last year we had done a few renovations and I wasn't paying attention. I was off doing whatever, and they sucked. But this renovation wasn't that way, right? Because we did it the right way. We put attention on it. We did it the right way. We funded the deal and did it the right way. We didn't skimp or borrow or scrape or anything like that. We just funded the deal, and we did it the right way, and it came out awesome. Other than, what I didn't want to have happen, we went an extra 2.5 weeks, and now we're into Christmas, and I'm holding on to the house, which I didn't want to have happen. And we got 2 snowstorms in between, which I was worried about. But there's nothing I can do about that. I mean, it's just we're gonna do really good with that house.
Yep.
We're gonna get an offer soon. We're gonna do really well with the house.
Yep.
Right. So the point is until you experience it yourself a couple times, you can't put yourself in the other person's shoes. Right. So paying attention to details, right, is very important.
Absolutely.
Make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
So
you know more yourself about more mechanical things. I know less about that. I'm more like cosmetic or landscapey, indoor thing, colors, whatever. So between the two of us, we do fine.
Right.
While they learn the other stuff. But the attention to detail, to me, is what an artist does. They talk about that for artists. It's the detail.
Right.
So you can be an artist in any field, you have contractors that are like artists and contractors that are crap.
Right.
Painters, when they're done, it's like, gee, that's beautiful. And painters like, could you prep a little more, for Christ's sake?
Right.
So anybody can be like that. Imagine doing that in your life.
Yep. I do.
Make your life an art. Like, just do it right.
I do. This podcast is that way.
Yeah.
My emails are that way.
Yep.
All of my courses are that way. Right? I don't know how to say this so it has impact. But I am telling you what we're talking about right now lies in your success. This fundamental concept is how I have done hundreds of deals. It's how I coach my clients. If you hear me talking to my clients, my private coaching clients, you'll hear me say to them, I'll try to help them, and I'll say this and I'll say that, and then I'll stop and I'll say, you know what? I don't know. But here's what I would do. And then I would go, and they're like, that's when they get it. And the reason why I do that is because I take the perspective of, if I was selling this house, what would be going on with me?
From the seller's viewpoint?
And how would I want to be treated? And how would I feel like me, the person that's talking to them, would give them value? What would I consider valuable to be? And every deal is different.
Yeah. Every person is different. Every deal is different.
So I have to look at their side of the table or put myself in their shoes. The word in the dictionary, if you want to look it up, is called empathy.
That's right.
So go look up the word in the dictionary. It's an amazing word. But if you have enough empathy, the right amount of empathy, and the right amount of affinity and care, you don't have to convince anybody. You don't have to do this rote presentation. You don't have to do any of that. If they just know that you really care for them. It's like they have to cross a bridge, that's 1,000 feet in the air, and the bridge is only a foot wide, and it's a rope bridge, and they're scared to death. If you walk across that bridge and go over to them and say, let me hold your hand, let's do it together. And you walk across that bridge, 1,000 feet in the air, 200 feet long, and you make them feel secure. while they're walking across the bridge. That's how you do deals.
Mm.
And I can't teach that. I can explain what I do, but I can't teach that. So that's what Disney does, and Walt Disney is they want their mission is to make people happy. They leave knowing they had fun.
Yep.
And the reason why I find it so fascinating about the 75,000 employees taking pictures is because you want the whole family in a picture looking like they're having fun. It's their mission. Mm-hmm. They want people to know when you come to Disney World or Disneyland, you have fun.
You know what's funny about that? We're so used to having that happen, like one person taking the picture. It's like, that's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. But he saw that as like, that isn't right.
Right.
And he found a simple thing to do to make it a better experience.
In the 50s, when cameras were like the size of a shoebox.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I mean, we have phones and we take selfies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, and I know both you and Emma have been with me, how many times I'm walking somewhere and I see somebody taking a picture. I'm in New Haven all the time. I'll see something down there. There's a bunch of Yale, people from Yale. They're from all over the world.
Right.
And they're taking a picture. And I'll always ask, do you want me to take a picture of you guys? 98% of the time, they hand me the camera and say, oh, that would be great.
Yeah. And did you do that before you read this book?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. You know what else?
What else do you do, Bill?
I'm completely off on a tangent now. When you personalize your marketing, it does amazing things. What we did for a long time, and I just remembered this. I forgot we used to do this. When we go out to the house, take a picture of the house. And then put it on the letter that you're going to send them, like a follow-up letter.
Oh.
Like, did you sell this house? And there's a picture of it.
Oh.
So what do you think's going to happen when somebody opens up a letter and they see a picture of their house on the letter?
They'll either appreciate it or get creeped out.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you send a letter, you're at the house, take a picture of it.
Yeah.
Right? All right.
It's a little easy today, huh? Isn't it?
So the way you use this in real estate is to educate your seller. This Walt Disney thing, okay? You're going to educate your seller. Walk them through the sale of their house with them. Now, you need to talk about some of the obstacles they're going to hit because they don't know that they have these obstacles. So the definition of you don't know what you don't know means there's obstacles you're completely not aware of. They're not on your radar, and you're going to hit them, and they're going to sideswipe you. You have no idea that those obstacles are going to come. That's what it means when somebody says you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. It means there's obstacles that you're not aware of, and because you're not aware of them, you're going to react instead of proact. Right?
That's right.
There's a big difference, which is the purpose of a coach or a mentor is to help you not react but be proactive. Mm-hmm. Okay? Say, when you go make this offer, I just did this with a coaching client in Pennsylvania. He just did a subject to deal. On Sunday, I spent an hour with him on the phone going through what to say, how to say it, the paperwork. I mean, I went through everything with him, step by step. I talked to him yesterday. I texted him because he's supposed to be out there. And I texted him. It's like, it's like 4 o'clock. He's supposed to be there at 1:30. And I'm like, well, question mark. Did you sign the paperwork? and he's like, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you, right? So I called him. And one of the things that he said to me was, Bill, she actually believed that I've been doing this for 16 years because he was using my language. I didn't even know that, right? And he says, but I'm only 36 years old, he goes. I can't really have been doing this for 16 years. I'm like, okay. He says, but I got to tell you, everything you said was exactly spot on. The things she said, the concerns she had, and how do I explain it? She goes, you took me from somebody that never did this and made me sound like 100% professional. And the amazing thing is she had a contract with another company. And because of what I'm telling you right now, because I paid attention to the details, mm-hmm. and I made sure that he knew what he didn't know, mm-hmm. right? I covered the obstacles he was going to cover.
Because you've been through it so many times.
Right. That he blew the other company away. She sent them a registered letter today or yesterday telling them, we're done. We're not performing on the contract. I have somebody else bought the house. And they were doing a lease option with her. He did a subject to deal with her. She signed a deed with him. And she wouldn't sign a deed with the other people.
Yeah. Well, if you do it right, there's a confidence that you can't get any other way.
Right.
By handling all the things that can come up that you might not realize, having answers for everything, and not being stupid about it, being real about it.
Okay, so,
and I've heard this many times about your students who've gone out like the first or second time, and people saying, "How long you been doing this?"
Exactly.
And they look at their watch. Since 12.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously. Yeah. I can name names, but it's not the point. This happens often.
All right, so let me paint this picture, and then we're gonna start to get out of here because there's one more thing I want to cover. There's a third tactic I want to talk about.
Okay.
But I want you to get this picture. Okay. So here we are, standing on the edge of a cliff with this rope bridge that's a foot wide that goes about 400 or 500 feet across a valley that's 1,000 feet down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how far is a mile?
5,000 feet.
Okay. So it's a quarter of a mile down. So it's pretty down. It's like way down there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's a person on the other side of that bridge. Let's say it's your pregnant wife. That are starting to have contractions, and you need to get her somewhere.
Yeah. And you're scared of heights, and you're scared of rope.
Right? So I have a choice. I can stand at the edge of that bridge, and I can convince her, it'll be okay, honey. Just do it. Try it. I came across, it was okay. You'll be okay. Don't worry about it. And you're trying to convince her to come across the bridge.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Is this picture clear?
Oh, yeah.
Or your second option is you muster up, don't pay attention to your feelings, don't pay attention to what you think, don't pay attention to how you're going to do this, don't try to work out the details, don't try to figure it all out. You just put your foot on the damn roped bridge and you walk across it and get to the other side and say, come on, sweetheart, I'll take you across. Do you get the difference?
Oh, hell yeah. Sure.
That's the difference between making a deal and not making a deal. That's the difference between customers sticking to you like magic, like a magnet, and customers just thinking that you're trying to convince them.
You know what helped me get that idea in my head? It wasn't too hard. Just I like to help people in the first place. Almost a problem. But I know when people get into this business, they get into it to make money. Oh, real estate. Oh, let's go make some money. But it doesn't work like that. You have to change your mindset from, I'm going to make money to, let me see if I can find a way to help that person. And then maybe you can make money.
Right.
It's a different approach.
Right.
I mean, if you have any kind of a business, you have to help the customer. Somebody comes in, buy a car, buy lunch. You ask them, what do you want? You don't like, hey, we got a special here. Why don't you eat that? Why not? It's good.
Right.
And we got too much of it. I mean, we have a lot of it. No, I mean, you find out what they want.
We've been doing this podcast for 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Almost for 3 years, we get done with the podcast and we go to a diner and have breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
She's clean house and has all new help down there.
Yeah.
Now, I've been going there. I mean, I go there multiple times a week.
Yep.
I'm very known there. Right? It's like my hangout.
Yep.
I told Emma yesterday, I got to find a new joint. I'm done. I went there yesterday. The girl doesn't know my name.
Oh.
Used to be when we walk in. I walk as soon as I went, hey, Bill!
Yeah.
Hey, Bill!
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It used to be that way,
Sure.
right?
They even went, hey, Pete. They knew
Yeah.
me even.
So you sit down. What are you having? I'm going to have the usual. Okay.
And they start cooking.
And that was it. And they start cooking.
And when I ask for something, I say, no, I don't want that in it. Can you do this instead? Like, sure, whatever you want. What do you want? Oh, I'll make that for you. They'll just custom.
Yesterday, I sit down and I said, the girl says to me, what do you want? She hands me a menu. First of all, which is okay. She's new, right? Now, she's been there for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is not my first rodeo with her. Emma ordered something from her the other day. She ordered a hamburger with her. And this girl completely didn't understand her and kept saying, so you want a tuna melt?
Ask for patty melt.
Emma says, no, I want a patty melt. Oh, a tuna melt. No, Emma said, no, a patty melt. She said, okay. Guess what Emma got? Emma's paying attention to the grill, and she's like, "Is that for me?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I asked for a patty melt, not a tuna melt." The girl went to the register and put in a tuna melt.
Wow.
So yesterday I asked for 3 eggs, over easy, home fries, and a grilled bagel.
Mm-hmm. Now, how hard is that?
I get my dish. It's got 3 eggs over easy and a toasted bagel on it. No home fries, and the bagel wasn't grilled. Okay? That's a classic example of not paying attention to details.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's a classic example of you screwing up a deal. Mm-hmm. That's a classic example of this guy doesn't know what they're doing. You don't have to know what you're doing. You just have to care enough to do it. And tell them, I don't know, but I'm going to go talk to my partner and then send me a support ticket.
Yeah. Or
Joe McCall or Ron LeGrand or Graziano or whatever his name is or Than Merrill, whoever you're involved with. Mm-hmm. Send them a support ticket and say, hey, how do you do that? Now, I know I'm spending way too much time on this, but I cannot emphasize this enough. Can you hear the passion of my voice?
No, this is real.
This is where it's at.
I've seen you do this.
This is the difference between me making a deal and you making a deal. It's not my vast experience. It's not my stories. It's not my experience. It's because I really care about that person as if they were my daughter or my wife or my mother. Okay? Mm-hmm. I care about how this is going to come out. I really do. Because if I do, because most of these people I'm going to live with for 3 years or 5 years or 7 years, I want them to have a pleasurable, wonderful experience with me. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to do a little extra for that. I don't have to go spend a lot of money. It's just paying attention to detail. And that, let me go back and read it again. If you deliver more than people expect, you no longer have clients, you have fans.
That's awesome.
All you're doing is paying attention to detail and protecting or attempting to protect the person you're buying a house for. Mm-hmm. Now, you may not be able to protect them, but you can at least say, hey, be aware of this.
Yeah.
Do follow-up calls. Call somebody up. Say, hey, did you sell your house? No. How did you know that? I'm like, how did I know what? Well, you told me blah, 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 blah. And that's exactly what happened. How did you know that?
Yeah.
Because blah, 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 blah. Right? Now, what happened? I got instant credibility. Mm-hmm. Now they didn't sell their house, and I'm calling back, and they're like, oh, I want to listen to this guy. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, this guy must know something.
And all it was something simple, like, like I did a cost to sell worksheet with them, and I showed them where their expenses were, and they didn't know that. And they got to the closing. They didn't think all that was going to happen, and they didn't have enough money, and they blew the close. Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. The third thing, and then we're going to get out of here. Are we doing okay? Or am I droning on too much?
It's too late. You can't take it back. Just keep forging.
Third thing, start making offers, and this you're going to be blown away with because I've talked about this, but not enough. And this is what Emma and I are working on right now. We're working on this diligently. Start making offers before you look at the houses. We did a whole podcast on this.
Wait a minute. You have a sequence.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I'm talking about slot deals and lease option deals. I'm talking about pretty houses. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about houses you go on Zillow and see pictures. Mm-hmm. So you have some concept of what these houses are. Okay. I'm not talking about a probate deal or something like that. So here's the point. A gut
job renovation. It's not that. And you can see that it's livable, right? Basically.
So why not make them 3 offers and send it to them? Because what we're running into right now is Ivan, who's a guy that works for me, is doing calls, and you and Emma has been doing some. What we're running into, and some of my coaching clients, definitely my coaching clients are telling me this, is the people are telling them when they're on the phone, send me something and I'll take a look at it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't understand.
Right.
It's taken some of us hours or weeks to figure out what you're explaining, and in 5 sentences on the phone, they don't quite get it.
So why not send them 3 offers? So the 3 offers are, let me give you an example. The seller wants $160,000, right? They're advertising on Zillow for $160,000 and has a payment of $1,500 a month. Okay. So your first offer, which you always have to do, and I'll tell you why in a minute, you have to give them a cash offer. Because if I'm talking to you about a house for $160,000 and you just want cash.
Uh-huh.
You're
Well,
kinda,
most people are expecting cash. That's
right,
how it's
because
done.
they don't know any
Sell the
other
house,
way.
give me the cash. And go
They
home.
don't know that
Yeah.
another way can be done.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to you about a lease option and giving you payments of $1,500 a month, and you're thinking, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Why, if you just give me the $160,000 in cash,
That sounds better.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Why would I want to take $1,500 a month?
Yeah.
So you have to give them the cold ice water dip, right?
Yep.
That's what we call it.
Oh, yeah.
The cold ice water dip. You got to give them the cash price because you have to get that out of their head.
Mm-hmm.
You have to realize that that you are not going to give them 160 because they think you're going to give them 160 minus the 6% for a realtor, or it's because it's a for sale by owner. You're just going to write them a check for 160.
Oh, sure.
No problem. There's no closing costs.
Yeah, well, they already discounted it because they knew that part.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's nice to know.
Yeah, it's worth 180, and they already deducted $20,000, and now they want 160. They've
Sure.
already accounted for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
They're savvy.
your first offer is going to be the Mayo formula, and if you go listen to other podcasts, you'll get this. But basically, the Mayo formula is a maximum allowable offer, which is a Ron LeGrand thing, and it says after renovated value times 70% minus the repairs.
Yep.
So if it's a pretty house, you just minus the 70. You do 70%. You don't do repairs. I always do $5,000. Even if it's a pretty house, I do $5,000 for repairs, no matter what.
Oh, okay.
Minimum $5,000.
Okay.
So if you do the math on that, $160,000 times 70% equals $112,000.
Mm.
Okay. And you take away the $5,000 for the repairs, just because, right? And you're looking at a $107,000 cash offer.
Yeah.
So your first offer is $107,000.
Which they're not supposed to like.
Exactly. All it is just to get their mind rattled on that you're going to give them $160,000.
Mm-hmm.
All you're trying to do is give them the ice cold water dip.
Yep.
You're trying to get them to say, "Ooh, I can't do that."
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's all that's there. It's a comparative offer.
You got nowhere to go but up now, right?
Right. It's a comparative offer. It's
Okay.
just because you have to get it out of their mind. I can't say that enough that they think you're going to give them $160,000.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the first offer is you make them $160,000. Second offer is you offer them 15% equity. In other words, you pay 85% of its asking price of the 160, right? And you try to get about 25% of cash flow on the payment.
Okay.
Okay. So that would be a lease option, or what we call a rent to own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't need to know how much money their house is worth or how much. You don't have to know any of that. I'm not doing any of that yet.
You don't need mortgage.
I don't need any of that information right now. I literally talk to them on the phone. I hit the few questions we're talking about, and I send them this offer.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about all this when they call me back. But for right now, we're just making an offer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the $160,000 on the second offer, multiply it by 85%.
Mm-hmm.
That's $136,000. So my second offer is $136,000, and we're going to pay $1,125 a month because you're going to take $1,500, multiply it by 75%, which is $1,125. Gives you a 25% profit. Right. Now, what if their mortgage is more than $1,125? Doesn't matter. Because they said to you, send me something.
Oh.
Let's talk about it.
Can you go up on the 1,500?
You can do anything you want.
Good.
But at this point, we got to start somewhere.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, but that 25%, you want to have that cash flow for you, whatever the numbers are.
So all you could do there is, if you think it's a little bit low, you could put in parentheses or more.
Oh. Yeah.
Give them a reason to call you.
Yeah.
Okay? Third offer, which is a slot deal.
Slot
is a sandwich lease option transfer.
Right.
Joe McCall calls it a wholesale deal. He wholesales the lease option. It's the same thing. Okay. Well, it's not the same thing. I do a little different than he does. But it's if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff and watch the slot, SLOT, slot deal structure, you'll understand it. Right? In any event, the slot deal goes like this. You're asking 160? I'll give you 160. You're asking $1,500 a month? I'll give you $1,500 a month. Because you're going to make your $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 in a seller's fee and an assignment fee.
The buyer's fee. Buyer's fee?
No. Buyer's fee. What are you talking about?
Well, your fee's coming from the buyer.
Right, but you're gonna charge them. I mean, it's going to be a deposit.
Yeah.
They're going to give you a deposit of $5,000 and you're going to keep it.
Right.
You could do it the way Joe explains it, and you can say, well, it's a fee. It's a transaction fee. I don't like to do that because then you kind of like dealing with like some realtor laws and stuff like that. But it's just language. That's all it is.
Sure.
The point is that if you were to get a contract for $160,000, if you were to get a contract for $160,000 and $1,500 a month, and your seller signed it, you can now assign that contract or those contracts to your buyer, and they will pay you $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 for that contract because who else has one?
Yeah, where else can they get that deal?
Realtor don't do that.
And that's on top of that 160.
Did you get that? Realtor don't do that.
No.
I want to make sure that I get my hillbilly language in there.
Realtor don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Okay? So the realtors don't do that kind of thing.
No.
So where are they going to find that? Would somebody that has a problem with their credit and can't get a loan, would they give you $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 to sign that contract? Hell yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't mean just because they don't have credit, they don't have money. They can have money.
So you send this off. So you send this off with a letter saying, was good talking to you on the phone. You send your 3 offers in a letter of intent. And then I have on my website, I have a document on the flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff, a document that says lease options explain.
Right.
You put these 3 things together. So you write a letter saying it was good talking to you, blah, 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 nicey, nicey, nicey. Here's your letter of intent with the 3 offers. And here's lease options explained, which is all the frequently asked questions and how a lease option works.
Right.
You send those all in one document. You either mail them or email them. Right?
Yep.
And here's the magic. Ready? You follow up with them in a couple of days. And what do you ask them, Pete? Where did we start? Are you in?
In or out.
Are you out?
Yeah. So in any one of those, they can be in because we don't care as long as we do something. Those are structured so they would work or close enough to work, so they're all fine. If they do the cash offer, that's not bad either. If they surprise you, that's fine.
What a problem you got? Go find some. Now you just found yourself a wholesale deal.
Yeah.
Or go find a private lender and do the deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now. Hear me loud and clear. If they say yes to the cash offer, you go find IRA money or private money that will lend to you for 5 years. We talked about that a few episodes ago. You make a boatload. Well, you'll make on that one deal a year's salary. On that one deal, if that happens. Because you're going to buy it at a cash offer, which is the lowest number you can buy it for, and you're going to sell it at the highest number because you're going to sell it on a rent-to-own or a lease option.
For a few years, because IRA money will
and they're going to give you money
last.
down. That's right. You're going to borrow IRA money to be able to buy, private money to be able to fund that deal. And you're going to pay monthly for the IRA company, and you're going to make a lot of cash flow. You're going to get money down, and you're going to make a lot of equity. Because you're going to sell it on a handyman special more than likely, or however you're going to sell it. But you're going to buy it at the lowest number possible and sell it at the highest number possible. That's a fat deal.
That's I've seen you do that one. That's the best of both worlds.
So here's the thing, and then we're going to end off because we're I was going through doing times. We've been averaging about 90 minutes on our show, and people like that. I've been getting support tickets on that, so that's why we're doing that. Okay, so I know this much. I know that if you actually start doing what I'm telling you to do and start making 4 or 5 offers a week, your morale will go up because you feel like you're doing something.
Yeah.
You feel like you're producing something and your morale will go up.
Well, that's a later step in the sequence, not just I'm calling people and they're saying no. I'm calling people and I'm sending offers. That's one step further.
There's too many people on the phones that we're running into that say, send me something. And we've been sending them the lease option form.
Yeah, but what's the first thing people really want, Bill?
They want an offer.
That's right. And we're giving them 3.
Yep.
Wow.
And all they're doing is matching their situation with your offer. So you become a reluctant buyer, because now what you're doing is filling your pipeline up with offers.
Yeah, if you send 3 out, you don't want all 3 because it'd be too much if you're new at this with just
Right.
you and one other person, maybe.
Or send me a support ticket and I'll partner with you.
That's right.
I will.
But just having one would be like help.
Yep.
The first one.
I know this, as well as I sit here. If you do that, someone will want to talk to you about your offers. And in the meantime, like I said, your morale will skyrocket. You'll feel like you're in the business. And you are. You're making offers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all while being a reluctant real estate investor. Because now you can go online. You can find for sale by owners. You can find people that are renting properties easily. You do that on Zillow. Zillow's the monster, right? Have a quick phone call with them. Do a little research, Have a conversation with the questions we talked about. Send them the offer. Call a few days later. Say, what'd you think? Are you in or are you out? And if they're out, you put them in your follow-up system.
Because if that house don't sell soon, their tune will change.
Right. They'll start thinking about renting it, and who are they going to call?
Yeah. I mean,
I hate that question. Who are you going to call? Because in my meetups, they go, Ghostbusters!
I wasn't going to say it, and then you did. I was going to be like cool
bust
about
my
it.
balls.
Yeah. So you need a new line there. Yeah. And then the offers are right there. And they can compare it to what people are offering. And if they feel confident, too, like you said before, they might have a better offer. But if they don't trust the person, they look like, unscrupulous or just amateurish.
Right.
It's not just the numbers. They have to feel you can actually perform. So,
episode number 179 has come to an end. I think I have definitely delivered on genius secrets of being a reluctant real estate investor. Agreed?
Bill, I liked this.
Good.
This is good.
Please, and in case you didn't get it, please,
And
go
to quote the Beatles, please me, oh yeah,
Good.
like I please you.
Good. The Beatles have spoken. Yeah. Go give us a review. Go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/podcast, or just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Top right-hand side says podcast, and there is a button there. We didn't get the 56 reviews for my birthday. We got a lot, but not 56. So I feel like I want iTunes reviews. I know other people have put reviews on other platforms because we're like everywhere. I think we're everywhere. I mean, we have software that puts it on Google Play and Stitcher and all these other people send me. I put a review on it. I don't even know what iTunes. I mean, iHeartRadio. There's so many places that we are because of our software. Please give us a review. It is what I thrive off of. I feel like my 4 to 5 hours a week to prepare for these to help our students is well worth it when I get a review or two. Plus, if you've noticed, our format has changed considerably, and it's because of the reviews. So please go give us a review. And if you need help, you can go to the same place, flippinghousesforrookies.com. Top right-hand side says contact us. The support tickets come to me. Unless it's a geek thing, it goes to Emma. And she handles all those. And then the last thing I want to say is that you should go to the free stuff and download something to get on my email list. Because once you download one of those things, you get on my email list. And I give away a lot of goodies in my emails. I give away special offers and all that kind of stuff. So just go to the Flipping Houses free stuff page and just download anything and you'll get on my email list. I don't care what it is. Any document, watch a video, whatever. You have to put your name and email in there and you're automatically on my list. Okay? With that said, I have some really cool stuff for next week and I can't wait to share it with you. We're over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.